Hi guys, it's Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today I'm going to show you how to make my little baby tiny tot. Now I haven't finished this one, as you can see. I haven't stuffed his little body as yet, but I wanted to show you how you can use different skin tone bands to make your babies. I think the very light sort of skin tone beigey colour is a little difficult to sometimes see the diaper, the nappy on. So I tried it in a darker colour, and the nappy, the diaper, does show up a lot easier. I'm also going to show you in this design how you can do one with a pacifier, binky, dummy as we call it in England and Australia, which is part of, it's not going to fall off, okay, it's part of the actual design. Somebody was a bit concerned that this would fall off and be easy for somebody to eat. The other thing I did, I was faffing around last night, where I say that the diaper, the nappy, is difficult to see. I actually made one that is removable as well. So I'll make the doll like this, and then I will show you how you can do the little addition, which is the removable diaper that you can put on your little doll yourself if you feel that you need it to be a little bit more pronounced. But I think we'll do it with the diaper on, and then we will make the little diaper that goes over the top as well. So this is what we're going to do today, our little baby. And so the colours we're going to use, whatever colour you choose to use as your skin tone. I have recently oiled my skin tone here, so I'm going to do it with these, and you are going to need to make 2 arms. I will link up here on the right and the top right. There's going to be a little eye. If you click on it, that eye will take you to the video on how to make the arms. It is going to be all skin tone. You're not going to change colour at all, so I don't need to give you the colour code sort of thing of what colour for each row. All skin tone, so if you could prepare 2 of those in advance, that would be fabulous. Now, you're also going to need your skin tone bands, your white bands, whatever colour you choose to do as your diaper pins, whether you're going to make a girl doll or a boy doll. I've used blue for a boy, pink for a girl. If you want to do a dummy, a pacifier, you can choose whatever colour you want for that. And if you want to do hair or not, I did a couple of sprigs of yellow hair with a little pink bow, and then on the boy I did not. So it's completely up to you whether you want to do that or not. You'll need your hook. I like to use a 2.75. What am I doing with a 3.25? I like my smaller hook, a 2.75, and you might need a couple of your stitch markers. If you don't have a commercial stitch marker like this, you can just use a bobby pin, you can use a safety pin, a paper clip, whatever. There are a number of different ways that we can start doing our magic ring. As you know, a lot of the times we use our loom, a peg of our loom, and I'm going to show you the different ways that we can do it. So we're going to do a magic ring of 6. So get 6 bands ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And when you do a magic ring of 6, you're always going to have 7 bands, because the first one is going to be the one that you make the magic ring with. So taking your band, and if we're using a peg of our loom, you're going to wrap it once and twice. Okay, and then you will poke your hook down that little peg, that through the band, and you pull up your band and put one over the other and budge it round. Okay, now this, I would say, is a very beginner way of doing your magic ring. As you get used to doing Loomigurumi, you really will find that you don't need to make your magic ring this way, but it's still a very good way to show and demonstrate. And I've had people say, oh, but you said it was a hook only design. It is a hook only design. You're only using the peg of your loom if you choose to, okay, if you don't know how to make a magic ring on your hook, which is what I'm just about to show you. I have a tutorial showing you the different ways that you can make a magic ring on my tips and tricks, and then you take it off your peg. There we go. So there's your little magic ring that you use your peg for. If you were doing it on your hook, take a band, wrap it once and twice, and again you're going to have 6 bands. Slide your first band on, that's your little end cap, and you might like to use your stitch marker to hold your end cap like so, so that you can loop your bands through and always know where your end cap is. Okay, so this is one way of using your hook only, but you use your stitch marker just to help orientate where you're at. And once you start getting the loops around, you can take your stitch marker out and you can continue. So this is another way that you can do your magic ring. And then if you're using your hook only, okay, so there's another way of making a magic ring. If you're doing your hook only, again, you're going to take your band, wrap it around, and then move your end cap over, one over the other, and just pinch the end cap with your fingernails and push your hook back through. So you don't actually need to use your stitch marker if you don't have one. You can just do it with your nails. And then lastly, and you keep doing it for 6, lastly, Rainbow Loom came out with a Loomy Loom. Okay, Loomy Loom is a great little way of being able to make your magic ring. If you have managed to get one, superb. If you haven't, don't worry, there are other ways of doing it. So take your band, your first band, and you're going to wrap it around the base of your Loomy Loom. Now this can be a little tricky, okay? And Cheryl came up with a really good idea. She actually did it the reverse way. So she put her band, she held it the opposite way, and this actually made it very easy to wrap around, like so. Okay, then starting, this is the longest of your little, if you see here, this is the longest fin. So holding the longest fin, keeping it to the right hand side, you're going to push your hook down the center of this first little space, and you will pull back your first band. And then you go to the second little space and you pull back. Now obviously you're going to pick the Loomy Loom with the 6 little spaces in it because we're making a magic ring of 6. Okay, and there's one for 5 and one for 4, depending on what size magic ring you're going to make. And I think my bands need a little bit more oil. They absorb the oil very, very quickly. Rainbow Loom have a lovely oil that you can use, which helps make your bands workable. So around we go, making our magic ring using our Loomy Loom. So whichever way you are comfortable with, okay, whether it's using your Loomy Loom, whether you're using your hook and a stitch marker, whether you're just using your hook, doesn't really matter. But you're going to make a magic ring of 6. Okay, once you've made your magic ring of 6, we're going to go through the first stitch and we're going to do a round of increase. So there's your first stitch. Now I always like to put my stitch marker on the first stitch. Other people put it on the last stitch. It's not, there's no right or wrong. It just is what makes you comfortable, as long as you're consistent about it. Go back through your first stitch. You're doing another single crochet in there, which means you're doing 2 single crochets in the same stitch. That's called an increase. And we're going to do that in every single stitch. So we're going to end up with 12 stitches because we're doing 2 stitches in each of the 6 stitches. So we go from 6 to 12. So there we are, we're at 12. Now our next round is going to be a single crochet followed by an increase. So through your first stitch, single crochet, followed by, move your stitch marker. Now, the fun thing about the baby is it's all skin tone until you get to the nappy, the diaper. Second stitch, you're doing an increase. And I did work out that you probably are going to use just over an entire bag of skin tone bands. Your bag of skin tone is 600. I think it's about 700 bands. Okay, so, oh, did I just do 2 in there? We want 1 in there. So there we go. I'm talking too much. Single, increase, single, increase in the 4th. There we go. single, increase. Now you can just lay out your bands if you want to, it's completely up to you, so that you know what you're doing. I don't usually do that, I just spread it around. If I have just the 2 little loops, I know that I've done a single. If I have 4 little loops in there, I know I've done a double. You can hear the crash bang walloping around. That's my cats, my new baby cats, getting into mischief. They're very good at mischief. Oh. I think we've lost a toy mouse. I'm busy trying to get it. So that is my round of single crochet and increase. So now you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18 stitches. We're now going to increase from 18 to 24. 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 24. We're going to do single crochet, increase, single crochet, and you can lay your bands out like this if you find it helpful. Single crochet, and an increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If this is helpful, go for it. It really doesn't matter. So do your first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker to it. Let's make sure we're in focus. We're going to do a second single crochet in the next stitch. And then in the third stitch, we're going to do our increase. 1 and 2. And let's do the same again. This is the pattern all the way around. I had somebody telling me I was going too fast for them. The trick here is, if I've told you what the pattern is, which I have to do, because otherwise you're not going to know what on earth you're doing, I tell you what the pattern is at the beginning of every single round. I say whether it's a single crochet increase, or whether it's a single crochet increase, or just a single crochet all the way around. You can stop me, pause me, do your round, restart me. You're not going to hurt my feelings, I promise. So if I happen to loom my round, crochet my round quicker than you do, don't worry about it. Just pause me. Once you know what the pattern is for that round, you can stop me from talking. My husband wishes he had that ability. There is no pause button. And we finish on an increase, and we should have 24 stitches. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 is on my hook. Now we're going to do 8 rounds. So I like to make my little pile here of 8 bands. That's 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. That is my little round counter of how many rounds I'm doing. So when I start, I go through my first stitch and I take 1 from this little pile, okay, and then I go all the way around doing single crochet, and I take my bands from a different pile, because all I'm going to do is 8 rounds of single crochet. I'm going to pause the video because otherwise it's going to take forever to do this little doll, but let's do 8 rounds of single crochet together. That's all we need to do. Nothing fancy, no ears, no eyes, no nose. We're just going round and round and round doing 8 rounds of single crochet, and I will catch you back when your head looks like this. Okay, so pause the video and we'll catch back up when your head looks like this. When your head does look like this, and let me take my stitch off my stitch marker. There we go, there's my last stitch. What we need to do now is start our decrease, and we're going to do single crochet, decrease. Okay, so go through our first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker, a second single crochet in the next stitch, and then we do a decrease. Now we're doing a hidden decrease, so we're going through one loop of the first stitch and the outer loop again of the second stitch. So we're just working in the outer loop here of those two next stitches and drawing them together, and then it's single crochet, single crochet, and again a hidden decrease going through those two outside loops like so. And let's do that all the way around until we get back to our stitch marker. Okay, so we finish on a decrease, so we're back to the beginning. Our next round is going to be single crochet, decrease. So here's our first single crochet, move your stitch marker, and our next stitch is a decrease. Again, you're doing a hidden decrease, so use the outside loops of the two following stitches, and then a single crochet, and a decrease, and a single crochet, and a decrease, and we do this until we get all the way around to the beginning again. Single crochet, and I finish on a decrease. So now what we need to do is we're working in the back post for our next round. So what we have to do, this is the stitch we just worked in. Can you see here? We've got the stitch. We're going to go from the back through to the front and poke through the next stitch from the front to the back, and this is the little post. Okay, and we're going to go around and do a single crochet in that back post like so. Move your stitch marker, that's now your first stitch, and then go into the next one. So from the back to the front, from the front to the back, and there you go, you've poked out that little post stitch. There we go. Now this gives the neck a bit of reinforcement really, so that it's not sort of floppy or loose. So we're working in this back post stitch. If you need a bit of clarification on the back post, I do have a tutorial on my tips and tricks for Loomigurumi playlist, showing you exactly, very clearly, close up, how to work in the front post and the back post. There's lots of different stitches there that you might benefit from having a quick look at, and they're very short, they're like little 5-minute videos. So round we go. Now you should end up with 12 stitches for the neck, okay? Whoopsie. Oh, what have I done here? Through there, there we go. Oh, make sure I'm in the post. I think this is my 12th, we'll check. So, the first one is the one with my stitch marker on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is with my hook on. So, we're going to move across to the first stitch. Do a single crochet. Just like normal. No working in a post. Move your stitch marker to that. Your next stitch is going to be an increase in that second stitch. So that's 2 single crochets. 1 and 2 single crochet. Increase. Single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet, increase, single crochet. Ooh, that was a awful one. And an increase. Let's count our stitches. I like to just spread this out a little bit. 1 is where our hook, our stitch marker is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 is on our hook. So now what we're going to do is 6 rounds. Now, because we are going to do the diaper, okay, I'm going to do 4 rounds in single crochet of skin tone, and then I'm going to do 2 rounds of single crochet in white, okay, because I want the diaper, even though we're going to do the added diaper as well, I still want to be able to have a diaper underneath, so if we don't do the additional diaper, we're still all right. So I've got my little bands here, so go through stitch number 1 and you're going to do 4 rounds of skin tone and then 2 rounds of white. All right, and I will meet you back when we've all done that. It's just single crochet, no increases, no decreases, and then we will stop at the end of doing our 2 rounds of white and we will put our arms on. So please make sure you have those ready. Okay, let's do our single crochets all the way around for 6 rounds. I'm back. All right, well, I've placed my eyes. I always like to line up my eyes with the back of my little person. So I hold my stitch marker, so I've got my last stitch, squish everything down, and then I place the eyes sort of in the middle of the head. You know, I sort of try and go in the middle, like so. They're the toy safety eyes, so they have the little clip on the back. Let's see if I can show you. You can use, there we go, these little ones here. Fiddle around, get them exactly how you want them. And I do those first, and then I do the arms. Now I've done one arm, I'm going to show you how to do the other arm. Hopefully you've made yours. So, taking the 3 little anchor bands off your stitch marker or pencil or whatever you're using, what I like to do is line the first one up just a little bit from where the eye is. So if I'm looking here, that's directly in front. I would probably go to this one here as my first, second and third. So I'm going to go into what I think is the third and pull my first band through, then go into the second, pull the second band through and go into the first and pull the third band through. And then I have to take the third band off my hook, loop 1 and 2 together, put the third band back on, loop 2 and 3 together, and then I'm just going to go through a little bit of band here and then grab a single band and do a tie off just to make sure that that does not come undone. Now you don't have to do the tie off too tight. Excuse you, get out of my stuffing. Because you might want to move the arm and readjust where you think it should be. So that's where I think mine should be. Now I'm going to stuff the head of my baby, okay? So I use the polyfill stuffing. It's 100% polyfill. It's safety, well, it's not safety, it's toy stuffing. I was going to say toy safety eyes. It's toy stuffing for teddy bears and dolls and stuff like that. It comes in a huge bag, and it's relatively cheap. It's not very expensive. It lasts for ages. Now, the thing about stuffing is you want to make sure, I should mention, you don't have to use polyfill. You can use tissues, you can use cotton wool, you can use, cut up an old t-shirt, use material, use tissue paper, whatever you happen to have lying around, it works. The thing about stuffing is you want to make sure that you don't stuff too much, because if you stuff too much, you will pull apart these stitches, okay, and then you'll see the stuffing through the stitches. So you want to make sure that you've stuffed it to give it enough shape, but that you haven't stuffed it so much that these stitches are pulling apart, because that looks really ungainly. So we have the 2 eyes, the 2 arms. I've done my 4 rounds of skin tone, 2 rounds of white. Now we need to start on the legs. I'll get my stuffing out the way. So my first round for my legs, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my stitch marker off here, and I'm going to go put my hook back through my last stitch, okay? Now, as you can see, if I squidge this shut, okay, that last stitch is kind of in the middle. So I'm going to sort of back pedal 1 stitch and undo that last stitch, okay? And I'm going to utilize this last stitch. Instead of doing a single crochet, I'm going to go through that last stitch as a slip stitch. It's just in the right position. Now, if yours is not in the right position, you can either go forward a stitch or 2 if you're just 1 or 2 stitches away from it, or go around to the next bit, whatever suits you. Okay, I'm now going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. If I hold this straight so it's not twisted, I can take my stitch marker out for a second, pinch this, okay, have a look. As I pinch this shut to the center, I think the center is probably going to be about here, but let's count. We want about 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the other side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to take one side, pull it through. Oh, I can see I've gone through more than just the 2. There we go. Make sure I'm just through the 2 top two top loops. There we go. Pull this one through, reclaim, and do my little single crochet. Okay, so that is the center for me. I'm going to go into the next stitch, and I'm going to use white still, and I'm going to do a single crochet, and I'm going to put my stitch marker on this. This is going to be my first stitch. Okay, and I'm going to go round with white, and this is going to be our diaper. And then we get here. Now, can you see this is the stitch here? We want to go through that, because that's our stitch. And then if you pull this forward, you can see here is the loop for our first chain. So we want to go through that, just the 2 loops. Then pull this forward again. This side here, we're going to go through these 2 loops here of this chain. And then through the last chain here, through these 2 loops on the right. We want to make sure that we don't end up with a nasty big gap. Okay, so we have to go through this as our next stitch. Okay, so that we don't have a big gap. Now we're going to change colour to skin tone. So do your slip stitch to change your colour. Now for the legs, normally I do 3 rounds of one colour and then whatever I'm doing for the shoe. Okay, so 3 for the leg, 1 for the shoe. So we've done 1, we've got 3 more. So I'm going to do 3 rounds of skin tone. Oopsie. Now there's 13 stitches in this little leg. Here's my last stitch. I'm going to skip the slip stitch, which is here, and go into my first stitch. I've got 2 more rounds to do in skin tone. So let's go around. One more round. Move my stitch marker to my first stitch. Now you don't have to do the extra diaper, the one that slips on and off, if you don't want to. It's completely up to you. If you want to leave the baby with this diaper, that's perfectly fine. I will do in a separate video how to do the other diaper as well. I think it looks rather cute, but as I said, you don't have to do it. You can leave the baby like this. Oops. Runaway bands. So this is my last stitch. I'm going to clip that onto my stitch marker. So if you don't have a stitch marker like this, just put another stitch marker on it. There's my first leg. Now we have to do this other leg. So I'm going to go to the back of my baby, and this is going to be my first stitch in here. If you can see, it's where the chain ended. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm using white. I'm going to do a little slip stitch like so, and I'm going to put my stitch marker on that, and around we go. Oops, get into the next stitch. There we are. And it's always hard to make sure that you have the same amount of stitches in this leg as you did the other leg. We have 13 stitches that we need. Oh, I have a little cat sitting behind me in my chair, pushing me to the forward part of my chair so that she can dig her claws into my butt. Little meanie. Hey, that's enough. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we go. This is the tricky part. You want to go into this part here. You want to make sure that you don't get any great big gaping holes. And then we start down our chain for the middle. 1. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to hit the camera. Now I'm going to count how many stitches that we have here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We need one more. So if you look, this is where we did our first stitch. Okay, so it's a little tricky, but we need to go into here and do a stitch. So that's number 13. Okay, and then we go into our first stitch, which has our stitch marker on it, and we change colour to skin tone by doing a slip stitch, and put your stitch marker on that first stitch. Now we're doing 3 rounds in skin tone. I will meet you back when we've done 3, otherwise it's going to take forever. So 3 rounds in skin tone, and I'll catch you back. So exactly the same as what we did here. So I have both of my little legs done. Now at this stage you can decide whether you're doing a little girl or a little boy. I've decided I'm going to do a little girl, and so, well, just because I have pink bands handy. So I'm going to take a pink band, wrap it once, twice and 3 times, okay? Now, keeping that on my hook, I'm going to go where I want the diaper pin, the nappy pin to go. And I'm going to choose, you sort of want it higher on the baby, and you want to go through 1 and 2 holes like that, okay? So I'm putting a second band through, pink. I'm sliding my wrapped band on, reclaiming, and then with a white band, or it could be a skin tone, it doesn't really matter. I'm using a white band. I'm going to link those 2 ends of that band together and tie off, and then I'm going to pull that thread back through to the inside of my baby doll, like that. So that is going to be the diaper pin, okay? And I'll do that with another one. Wrap it once, twice, 3 times. Find the same spot. So I was here and I came up to here. So I'm going to go through the same spot on the other side, pull through, slide my wrapped band on, pretty it up so it's not yucky, reclaim, take a single bite band, add and slip knot, tie it in, drag this back inside my baby, and make sure that I have the little pin like that. Now this is the integral diaper. This is the one that sits on the baby. This is not the one that comes away, okay? We will do a separate video for that one. This is just this one. Now, if you want to do a pacifier, a dummy as we call it in England and Australia, I did a little tiny magic ring. So use your hook, wrap it once and twice, and it's a little magic ring that you're going to make. So put your slip knot on, pinch your band, and do 1, oopsie, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do one more band for 5, like that. Now, what you're wanting to do, go through, actually, I'm telling you a fib, that 5th band we should do as a slip stitch. So undo that 5th one, add your loop, and tie that into a tight knot. Try not to hit your camera. That, you're going to poke your hook through the center band and pull that tie off loop through to the other side, like so. Okay, so that's sort of like the handle of the pacifier, of the dummy. Okay, now what you're going to do is you want to go through 1 loop one side and 1 loop the other side of the baby, and you want to keep that on your hook, go through where you want the mouth to be of your baby. Now you can go one side like this, or you can go up and down, it really doesn't matter. pull that single band through if you can, and add this pacifier to it like so, okay, and it's backwards at the moment. Link that through, okay, and pull tight, and then you pull that back inside the head of your baby doll. Make sure you can try and put your stuffing back in, and that's how you attach it and pull that little handle out. So you've got the handle to the passy. So that's how I did the pacifier. You don't have to do it. It's an added extra if you want to do it. It's completely up to you. I quite like it without the passy, but as I said, if you want to do one, you can. I'm going to undo it because I don't want one. Oh, if I can undo it. I did it so tight. Get out. There we go. So I'm not having one on this one because I have one on my other one. I could probably even do with a little bit extra stuffing in the head of my baby. So it is stuffing. Talking about stuffing, it is stuffing time. So let's grab a bit of stuffing, and we're going to go through the legs up to the stomach. Okay. So, and as you remember, I said less is best. Push that into the tummy area. Okay, and you don't want to make it too fat because they're not little porky ones really. If you do it too fat, you'll pull your bands apart. Do a little bit in each leg, just so that you can still see the top of your bands, so that you can loom them shut. There we go. And the other one. Okay, so I think that is about right for my baby. Now we need to close up the feet. So take your hook back, take your loop back onto your hook. We're working in the front post this time. So instead of the back post where we went from the back of one stitch and then through to the front, we're going to work the other way. Okay, so we're going from the front to the back and then from the back to the front and poking out this little post here. Let's grab some bands. We're going to go all the way around with a single crochet. If I can get my fingers to work, it would be a nice thing. And then move your stitch marker to that first stitch. So all the way around on that front post. It changes the direction of your bands so that instead of continuing with longer legs, you're moving your band direction to close off the feet. Oh, come on, you. There we go. Okay, so we're back to the first stitch. Go through your first stitch, move your stitch marker, and we're going to do decreases. And we're not doing hidden decreases. You're going through one stitch through both loops and then the second stitch through both loops. And we're just going to do decreases all the way around until, and you can actually take your stitch marker off, you don't need it anymore, until we can close up that little hole at the bottom of the foot. So it's close enough. I'm going to do a tie-off band, nice and tight, and I'm going to pull that back inside from the back of my baby doll. Grab that loop, pull it back inside, and then let it go and push back any stuffing that might have escaped. So that is my little foot. We have to do the other side, and our baby should hopefully be able to sort of stand up. She's standing a bit lopsided at the moment. Let's do the second foot. Take my stitch marker, and I'm going through. I'm working in the front loop, if you remember. Move my stitch marker to the first stitch. Now you can do a little bit of tuft of hair on the top of your baby's head if you want to. You can leave it bald if you want to, completely up to you. You can put a bow on her head if you want. I did the hair similar to how I did Charlie Brown's hair. Oops, I did not do that one right. I'm going to back out and do that again. So my round first of working in the front post. Oops, come on. There we go. Last stitch working in the front post, and then we do decreases until we can close off this little hole. So let's push that down. Let's find our first band and our second, and we do decreasing. Whoops, there we go. I think this might be our last one. And tie off. Nice and tight, splay it open through the back side of your baby up to the center of the foot. Grab that tie off band and pull it back through. And there we have our little baby. As I mentioned, you can do some little hair. So if you choose to do hair, I'm going to use 3 bands here of yellow, and I'm going to use 1 band of yellow to attach it to her head. First though, I'm going to put a little band on to tie it around her head. So I'm going to wrap a pink band once, twice and 3 times, take my first 3 yellow bands, and I want to slide the pink band onto the center of these 3 yellow bands. So I'm going to try and do that as carefully as I can without taking these yellow bands off the end of my hook. So like that, okay? Now, with this, I'm going to make this side longer than this side. With this side, I'm going to take a single yellow, cap it. I'm going to go through where I want her hair to be. So I might like it to be here. I'm going to go through the spot that I want her hair to be. I'm going to add those to it and recap. And then with a skin tone, I'm going to seal those 2 sides together. With a tie-off band, nice and tight. And I'm going to pull that from this side through to the other side. So that skin tone, I'm going to push my hook through the opposite side of her head, grab the end of that skin tone band and pull it into the head, and then sort of stuff it back in so it's hidden. So that is how I'm attaching her hair. Okay, I'm going to pull these sides so that this is sitting right close to her head. I've got some fluff coming out here and I want that inside her head. There we go. Oh, get back in. I hate seeing the fluff coming out. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do, I don't want that just to be a little pink band, so I'm putting my hook through the loop. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to tie this pink band that I've just pulled back in a knot. So I'm keeping one side on my hook, one side on my finger, and I want to tie a knot like so. And that is my band that makes the bow. Now these loops, I don't want them as loops. So what I'm going to do is just cut them so that they're like a little ponytail on top of her head. Now, you don't have to do this, okay? You could just do a little bald head like so and put a little knotted band through here like that. Okay, so that's how I did her hair. So here we are. Here's our little finished baby girl doll, and she's got her little tuft of hair. Again, you don't have to do that, it's up to you. The next video, I'm going to show you how to do the removable little diaper. This one is an integral one, and this one you can take on and off. So that's our little baby girl and boy. You can make them any colours you want. Hope you enjoy. If you do like this tutorial, there's a thumb down there. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and you'll find out when I do new videos. Take care everyone.